Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got breaking news to discuss involving Lamelo Ball, NB1, the one of one, and the Charlotte Hornets. This is some serious news. Lamelo Ball is in the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. He is supporting the rookies as they signed their contracts. You see everybody in attendance from Lean McKinley, Sion James, Knueppel, Calbrina. We all know what's going on. And what was really telling was the people that was behind them. Is a lot of things we're gonna break down in just a short clip. But number one, what I want to say is the enthusiasm of all of the guys. Everybody is looking like they're ready to run through a wall. We're gonna get into Jeff Peterson too, because listen, it's Flight Sports. Make sure you hit the like button. Most definitely hit the subscribe button. So you seen the vets behind them. Colin Sexton is already in Charlotte. He's already in the building. He's getting with the team. He's acclimated. He's like one of the guys already. What I'm seeing is this team is going to perform at a very high level. There's no reason why they shouldn't. Also, what I want to tell you is this: um, the the Charlotte Hornets. The synergy that Jeff Peterson is creating is a winning environment. I can't say they had this winning environment before in the past, but I'm firmly here to tell you that it is. Now he told Charles Lee basically, and not even basically, he told Charles Lee, "Hey, back to work, back to work." And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. The Charlotte Hornets, they ended up taking that clip down. If you look at the footage from the Charlotte Hornets, page, they took the clip down that basically he was discussing with the team. And all you see is them signing the contracts now. I believe they didn't want to make it look like he was, kind of going at Charles Lee, but he wasn't going at him. He was telling everybody to get back to work because it was a real jovial environment. Everybody was jumping for joy. You would have thought everybody just hit the lottery. But, for these young kids, they did just hit the lottery. They just signed the NBA contracts. So everybody's just celebrating. Everybody was there at one point. They celebrating their rookies. I was listening to Lean McKinley, and basically he was so ecstatic, that he was a member of the Charlotte Hornets. It just didn't make any sense. I'm gonna get into this situation here. Listen to this.
All right, back to work, Charlie. Back to work. All right.
If you heard Lamelo Ball said straight to it, so basically they even though everybody's all going crazy, they still got to get straight back to work, and they have to create a winning environment for the Charlotte Hornets to get to the postseason. And this party, vacation, they don't want that. They don't even want to create that kind of environment. Even though it's the off season, this is work time. This is the Hornets. They're not like every other team who could just go all over the place. They have to be in the building, in the system, and already starting basically training camp right now. There's so many words, even they doing something lightly like that. They have to. I want to give credit to Jeff Peterson. Jeff Peterson, he deserves to call people out. He's had a hell of a off season so far. He's brought in a lot of different pieces for the Charlotte Hornets for them to be successful this year. And I think that with everybody in the building, that only can create good cohesion. Um, it's going to be good because these guys been together for a while. Everybody is healthy. If you listen to these guys, like I said, I'm looking at Knueppel. I mean, this guy seems like he's firmly entrenched in what's going on with the Charlotte Hornets. He's looking like he's firmly, in the building with them. So we gonna see, what happens with him because he's going to be a major piece for the Charlotte Hornets, a major piece. I mean, he's going to be, and I'm just looking at the way Lamelo is, dealing with him. He's hanging with all the guys, but you see Brandon Miller. He's giving him that little pat on the back. You see Lamelo, a little extra with the handshake, a little extra with the hug. He understands that Knueppel. He's got to be a hit for them. To take that next step. You look at all of these teams; they have big twos, some building big threes. The Hornets, they have to at least build some competent system around what they already have. You have Miller, you have Bridges, you know what LaMelo's bringing to the table. Truth be told, ladies and gentlemen, all LaMelo has to do is be healthy, and the Hornets are going to be successful. If LaMelo is not healthy, the Hornets will not be successful. That's just the nature of this game, so all of these pieces fit around LaMelo and Brandon. Obviously, you talking about the way they play, able to space the floor. LaMelo can shoot over anybody, take you off the dribble, go to the cup. Same with Miller. You're able to give Miller space on the block wherever he wants the ball. You could clear it out. And you got shooters everywhere when defense collapses. Miller on the fast break is crazy. LaMelo, I think it's time for Miller to take the next step. We know what LaMelo is going to bring to the table. He's going to play with Miss Triple Dub every night. He's going to ball. He may go on a stretch of 27, 30 plus night, 30 plus a night. But I think Miller is key this season for them to reach all of the things that we truly want. Miller has to play at an all-star level or close to it, for the Hornets to accelerate this pace a little bit because they're rolling in a lot of young guys. This roster is young. We gotta call out most homage on that. But I think they're gonna be good, with this, with the way Jeff Peterson is leading it. And it looked like everybody was on board. LaMelo Ball basically was on board when he said, "Let's get back to work." He said that to Charles Lee. LaMelo said straight to it. So he's following suit, letting it be known that him, Charles, they all on one accord. LaMelo is the best player on the team. It's his team. He's the leader. He has to show it. It's time to mature. With the whole basketball team. That's why you hear Jeff Peterson saying back to work, because it was getting a little too happy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it is when you've missed the postseason for this long. It is when, you've had a disastrous stretch these last couple of years ever since they let go of James Borrego. So you can't do all of that. I remember when Kobe Bryant was looking crazy, famously. I forgot which show he was on, but basically the Lakers was just going crazy. Nick Young and everybody, they won a game finally, and they was acting like they won the championship. And Kobe didn't even smile. He was looking disgusted and upset. And the Hornets, that's how they got to be this season. They got to get upset about the way things are going and come out with a vengeance. And shout out to Charles Lee. Shout out to these rookies. We improved. These rookies are, I could say firmly that I think these guys are going to be a hit. McKinley wants to win Summer League championship. Let's see if they can do it. We're going to be tuned in. We can't wait till they take the floor. It's Flight Sports TV. Let's get in the comment section. Peace and love. You already know what it is.